Hi guys, welcome to a story time. This is going to be a very unedited, raw story time. What you see is what you get, like an Edward in the background. But I wanted to do, as promised in previous videos, a story time about my movers. Because they didn't start out as like a terrible company or a headache. And by the way, I'm not gonna name the company because like we don't need that in our lives. But the reason I chose them was because they were the only company to send me like an email quote. All the other ones like called and bugged the crap out of me, which is probably a sign for how this was gonna go. But so I had no problems like booking them for my move. Like I even wasn't sure of the date that I was moving yet, and she was like, that's no problem, like let me know when you have a date and we'll set a time. So I finalized the date, we set a time, like I booked everything. The only little thing that like should have tipped me off is that when the movers got there to pick up like my stuff in Maryland, they didn't want to use the loading dock because they said it wasn't a loading dock. Like that was the only like issue, which was resolved and it was fine. And the guy was super nice, like didn't charge me extra for like the long carry and all of that. Like he was super good, didn't charge me extra for paying with the credit card, like nothing. So I tipped him really well. And then the problem started. I got to San Antonio, like was living with my mom, but it became, I guess, like a week before move-in day, and I hadn't really heard anything from the company, so I started emailing. I emailed my move coordinator, she didn't really email me back. I called her, she didn't call me back. Finally she was like, there's no, like you can't set a date to move your stuff, like have your stuff delivered. Which, what kind of moving company doesn't let you set a date to have your stuff delivered to your new place? Like that's really weird. Then, hold on, let me look at my notes. I said, I guess they never went over the contract with me, so I didn't know that it was like it was a time frame for delivery that could have been anywhere from like my earliest delivery date to 14 days after that, which probably should let somebody know that before they sign the contract, like, or just let them know in general, because I didn't know until I went in and like read trying to find out my delivery date. So that was a little annoying and frustrating.
Not to mention that's not including weekdays
or
weekend days or holidays.
Julie chiming in off camera, but yes, it wasn't including any weekends or holidays. So it was 14 business days. And then, like, so I finally was like emailing my move coordinator trying to get like a time frame for delivery. I didn't even need like an exact date. I was like, do you know when like my stuff's gonna be on the way to Texas, kind of thing. And finally, after about like a couple of emails, she told me to call dispatch. I called them like 5 days straight and left 5 different voicemails, and they never called me back. And finally I emailed her and she was like, you have to get with dispatch. And I was literally like, I've called them 5 days straight and left them voicemails and they have not called me back. So is there somebody else I can talk to? And she basically, I guess, got on dispatches behind, and there's an Edward was sniffing the camera, but so basically I think she yelled at them and told them to call me, and then they called me, and then they were just like very vague. They were like, well, your truck could be leaving like 3 or 4 days from now, maybe a week. And it took me like 4 questions to even like get that out of them, because when they called they were like, this is so and so from the moving company, not even the name, they literally just said the moving company. And then they were like, so what do you want to know? And I was like, what do you think I want to know? Like, I want to know when I'm gonna have a bed to sleep in, and like my coffee maker and like my stuff in general. So that was like very vague and frustrating and annoying. And then I finally got the call from them that like, hey, your stuff's gonna be, like your stuff is leaving Maryland tomorrow. You should have it on Sunday or Monday. Well, Sunday and Monday rolled around and it became Tuesday. And I got a call the day before and it was this other girl from a different moving company, by the way. Which I guess they like subcontracted to another move. I don't know how it worked. It was all very confusing and I didn't really know. But basically she was like, yeah, your stuff will be delivered tomorrow between 10 and 1. And I was like, okay, I'm at work until 1. But Julie happened to be off, so I was like, my roommate will be here though, and I like gave her Julie's contact information, and like we arranged everything. I got the money order that she said I needed to like pay my final balance due, etc. Tuesday rolls around, I'm at work, get a phone call from her, and another one, which I cannot answer when I'm at work. And then she texts me and she was like, we can't get the truck in. And I'm like, I can't do anything about that right now. And like, I should just read you these emails or text messages.
At one point, she was talking to me on the phone and she goes, yeah, I tried calling her, but she's not answering.
Yeah, she was
and
annoyed I wasn't answering even though I told her I would not be able to answer.
And I said, yeah, she's at work. And she said, yeah, I know. And I was like, what?
It's not a job where I can answer the phone, and I told her that, and she said, hi Kari, I talked to you yesterday and the day before yesterday they were coming to do your delivery. You said we have access for an 18-wheeler, but we don't have access over here by the entry. Can you call me back at thank you? And I was like, I cannot call you, I'm at work. Can you text me what you need? And she was like, yeah, we don't have access for the 18-wheeler. And I was like, what am I supposed to do about that? Also, my mom said it wasn't really an 18-wheeler. It was like a moving truck. But then she was like, so we have to do a long carry and have to charge you extra. And I was like, okay, how much extra? We have to check how much extra because we told your friend to come over to see where the building is, but she doesn't want to come outside, so we're walking looking for the number of the building, which is not true at all.
Yeah, that part cracks me up, that I didn't want to come outside. Yeah, I was totally like, I don't want to come outside. Not.
Apparently Julie went outside and talked to her, so I don't know what that was about, but I was like, I gave her like directions to find the building, and I was like, but at this point I took my break at work. Like luckily I was working in pillows, so I was just like taking my frustration out on like the pillows. But she was like, so I went on break and I was like, okay, I can send my mom with the extra cash, but I need to know in the next 10 minutes. Because at this point I had used 5 minutes of my break. And I have a 15-minute break. And so she was like, give me some money. It's kind of far, so will be expensive. And I was like, okay, can you go through the eggs? Like, we had a whole discussion, and I was like, finally, I was like, I don't care if you're overestimating, just give me a number so I can tell the person who is bringing the cash to my apartment. It was so frustrating. I was really annoyed, and she finally told me. I told my mom came with the extra money. Then comes the kicker. They get everything moved in or whatever, and Julie goes to give them the money order that I got, and she goes, yeah, we can't take this. Because it was a bank money order and not a postal money order, which she says she told me it was a postal, I needed a postal money order. But I only heard money order. So then she had to text a picture to her manager, boss, whatever, to see if they could accept it. And I was like, oh my God, just take your money. It's your money. And it was at this point I was wanted to get out of work, wanted to come and strangle her in person. I was so annoyed. I wouldn't actually strangle her, I was just that frustrated at that point. And then, the best part of it all, I get home from work, we're going through my stuff. I don't have a bed frame. My bed frame is missing. It's on the list of things, but it is not in our apartment anywhere. So I emailed I called the lady that delivered it. I emailed my move coordinator to let her know that it was missing. Fun story. When I was like trying to get a hold of them to find out when my stuff was coming, my move coordinator was like, "I'm out of the country. I can't help you." Then when I emailed her about my missing bed frame, she was like, "I'm in the hospital. Call dispatch." Is there like nobody else that works at your company that does your job? Like, why do I always have to call dispatch for everything? So it was a nightmare move. I'm very happy it's over, and I'm very happy that I have my bed. The end of this story time rant.